This is another episode of the Backstage Sports Podcast. I'm Joe Connor.
I'm JT Harker.
And today we have another very, very special guest. This is another one of those guests where we can't really list their accomplishments. We can't read their resume because it's too long, and we would be here, for the entire hour. So we'll give you a little snippet. Now, if you're a musician and you're watching, you already know who this guy is. If you're in a music game or producer, you already know who this guy is. He is an epic musical director, an epic producer. Just to name a few, he's produced for Janet Jackson, Jennifer Lopez, Ariana Grande, Mary J. Blige, Fifth Harmony, Chris Brown, Brandy, Neo, Kiara Shear, Rick Ross, Michelle Williams, Kelly Rowland. I mean, the list is going on. He's also done production.
I've heard of some of those artists.
Some of them, a couple of them, they're pretty small, but he's done production for film and TV stuff. Some Empire, The Best Man Holiday, Harmony Samuels. Welcome to the show, bro.
What up?
What's up, man? Thank you so much for coming on.
No problem, my dude.
Harmony is not only a great producer and a great musician, but he's also a great leader and a great mentor. He's been a big brother for me. He was my MD for a couple years. So I had the pleasure of working with him and him sharpening my tools that way. And it's been a minute since we got to see each other or talk. I think we saw each other at a wedding like a little while ago.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But what's been going on, and what has life in the quarantine been like for you?
Boy, you know what's interesting is not much changed.
Okay.
And I say that not much change in the sense of how busy I was, right?
Right.
I adjusted to COVID, but I still found like myself in a very like busy state.
Yeah.
Probably more controlled and more more thought out, more time to think about, my game plan. And I was definitely able to step into things that I might not have had much control of, what I'm saying? Like, things that I didn't have time for before because I had daily life to get to.
Yeah.
So now my focus was on some real passionate work, some real alignment, really aligning some of my business things and really kind of like expanding my mind on what's to come afterwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I read somewhere where they said, crisis breeds opportunity. Some people look at crisis as a time of, doubt, worry, fear, and but others look at it, especially millionaires. They look at it like, okay, this is a time to build something new. If you check history, every time there's a crisis, there's a new way of life. You know what I mean? That means the old things are passing away and a whole new way of life is coming.
Right.
And, the last crisis we then had Uber and then Uber Eats and a whole bunch of other, new ways of doing things, which is like, Uber's like a normal way of life now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But 10 years ago, so it, preparing myself for what this new way of life could be, and can I be ahead of the threshold and make sure I'm a part of that new way, and make sure I'm investing in that new way of life, a new way of thinking, a new way of building. So that's kind of where I've been at.
Yeah.
Can I add to that? I would like to prepare to get laid more, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to develop an accent like Harmony's. That's what I'm going to do. That accent will get me way more action.
It's undefeated. It's undefeated. 100%.
I hate you so much for that.
it's undefeated. But it's so true. It's funny because we were just talking about this a little while ago about how being in this space, it has its gift and its curse, right? And I think the positive part that I see is, the things that that you take out of it, the things that the pandemic and being in quarantine pushed you to do, right? Like for me, I talked about how it was like recording, like I never had to record myself, right? And so now I've gotten into being able to, you know, finishing out my recording equipment and getting everything that I needed to do. And now I can go to my living room or go to my back room and record myself, you know what I'm saying? So I've been doing stuff from home, but it was like, I got pushed into that, right? Because had we not been in the pandemic, like I probably would have never like been like, oh yeah, I can just go, I can go to the crib and cut some records, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's you're dead on, because I feel like, you know, some people were offended by the notion of like, if you come out of this pandemic the same way you went in, it's your fault. Like you did something wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that's just, it's really just to say what you just said, where look at the positivities and look at what you can do and how you can adapt, right? Adapt or die. You have to learn how to adapt in these things. Otherwise you'll wash away no matter what it is. If it's a pandemic or whatever, life is always going to be changing and evolving.
You know,
so
what's
that's
crazy,
been a cool
though?
thing. Yeah.
You know what's great? A lot of people, including some of our friends, musicians, are coming. They haven't done anything different.
Oh,
They're just hanging out, waiting for the gigs to come back.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they're recording a little more, and they're gonna come out like, all right, let's go back.
It's a way of life. So you gotta remember, like, you know, one of the things that stopped me from pursuing music as a musician and changing my mindset was because the musician's mind is so focused on playing that once we play, we're satisfied. Right? That's all we're good at. As long as we can play or do what it is that we love to do, we're satisfied.
Yeah.
And it can almost be a hindrance because there's more to than just playing, right?
Yeah.
And so, for instance, I remember I transpose a lot, right? I transpose on the keys a lot. And then one day I deliberately just played in a different key. And he was like, why are you transpose then? Yeah. I said, because I don't want to think about it. Like, it's just easier to play in that key for me. He's like, well, if you were practicing, I was like, see, while y'all figuring out how to practice being the best on the piano, I'm trying to figure out how I can build a piano that you would buy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Two different mindsets. Like, I look at Korg, I look at Roland, and I'm like, well, who the hell is Roland?
Right.
That he was able to build 50 billion keyboards and have us obsess over it, right?
Yeah.
That's who I'm interested in.
Right.
I'm not interested in the keyboard because the keyboard is a distraction.
Yeah.
That's the thing that keeps us wanting to spend the money. I want to know why he knows how to build that.
Yeah.
And figure out how I can build something that makes everybody else spend their money. And that's the difference. And sometimes the best producers, once I realized why some of the best producers aren't the best musicians is because when they're musicians, they overthink the music.
Oh, 100%.
When you're a producer, you think about the bigger picture.
Yeah, that 100%. 100%.
Right?
That's why you hear
about the feel.
Yeah.
And the touch and the thing and the sonics and and it's like, okay, but the producer thinks about the song and how it impacts culture and how radio's gonna play it and how the 12-year-old teen and or the teenager or the mom's gonna listen to it on radio, and does it make sense to be able to sing back? And you know what I mean? It's a nursery rhyme. We think about the colors, we think about the vision, how it looks on the screen. There's so much more to think about, and the musician can't get past that limitation. And that's why they're still stuck waiting for the gig, because all they know how to do is gig.
You're right, because it does pacify you, especially, you know, when you're young and you coming up. And that's the holy grail, right? Like, you know, we see the touring and the big lights and the big stages, and you get busy and you get pacified by this rat race. Like, oh, I'm working, I'm good, right? And to your point, being in this state did push me to think about bigger things. I'm thinking more about mailbox money and royalties, and you know what I'm saying? I got to deal with Splice in this pandemic, right? Me and my boy has a couple of Splice packs coming out. And now just getting pushed into that, I'm like, I want to do more of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my focus has shifted, and even when we come out of this, I'm going to be focused more on that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you're right, because when we were pre-pandemic, we were touring and we was out every weekend. You get pacified and then you get home and you can't think about nothing else. You're like, I'm tired. Like, I'm not doing nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you just look at money differently, because you just want to be like, well, I don't need to worry about my next month because I know I'm going to be on the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Right.
And so you kind of live check to check, and that's what it is. It's actually a fun 9 to 5.
Right. Right.
Like
100%.
it's a 9 to 5 that you actually like to do, right?
Yeah.
And you get to travel, you get to see different things, and you kind of, you get to mess around with girls and do whatever you do, right? So you have a different mindset, but it's still a check to check mindset. It's not legacy, it's not investing, it's not forward thinking. It's basically a day-to-day job. Right. And I, this pandemic broke that rule. It broke that rule, and I think people, like I said, you're gonna survive or die. And and for me, I've always been in forward thinking mode, right? So like I said, even though I was a music director and I did it for a long time, as I grew as a producer, musicianship became less and less important to me. Yeah. Right. So why would I care so much about playing keys when I can own a studio with 5 rooms and I can hire a keyboard player to play whatever the hell I want him to play? And even I think about it. I could pay him a session fee and make most of the money. Yeah. That's what people don't understand, right? I could pay you a session fee and make $1 million from a
in
record.
Perpetuity.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so that's where my mind started going. And now it's on a different scale. It's like, I'm not even thinking about music. Music is like, okay. Yeah. It's like a magnet on the fridge now. Like music's like, okay, I do music. Cool. That's just, it's so much bigger now. Yeah. I'm talking it's film, it's TV. And I'm not even talking about making music for film and TV. I'm talking about making films, making TV shows, and owning plots of land to build film studios on. Like that's where we're at right now. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we have to be forward thinking, and sometimes being too concerned about what a keyboard does is more of a distraction. Yes. Than thinking larger. And hey, am I complaining thinking that musicians are definitely needed? Yeah. But they're also transitional. Yeah. They're also replaceable, right? So if artists haven't shown musicians that, I don't know, you're the drummer that plays for Jay-Z or the keyboard player that plays for Jay-Z for the first 3 years of his tour, and then he's doing another tour and you're expecting to go right back on the road, and he goes, nah, I'm gonna change it out. Right. Right. That's why you got to think bigger. Right. And so you are prepared for that, because you're like, what did I do wrong? So now you got to deal with an emotional scar of, am I good enough? Am I not good enough? Who's a new kid on the block? And it's a passive thing. You just change it out, like sneakers. Like musicians can be, unfortunately, like sneakers. You be like, I want to wear these today. Yeah, true. And that's why you got to think big. It's funny because this has forced us to think, because JT was just talking about how he's doing more investing, more. Would you just tell me you just sold your first card? Like he's getting in the card. Yeah. It's like all
to what both you guys are saying. Like, I mean, Joe Harmony, if you don't know, Joe's been playing drums with me. We've been playing together for over 3 years now, Joe. Yep. And obviously you play with a ton of other artists and bands and whatever. But that was my whole focus was obviously playing shows. That's like, especially when we were playing 6-7 nights a week, right? But then also, like, for me, a side hustle was booking shows. So I booked talent as well. And that was my whole thing. And I was trying to build the booking business. That's all fine and great. But this COVID, now I started a sports card business. I just sold my second card actually now. But and I've already got 2 investors with 2 different companies now and my own thing. So now I've literally got 3 sports card companies, and I'm building my own computer here next week. I bought all the components. I'm just learning, and then investing stock market. And I've got a couple other things brewing but I never would have even thought about any of this stuff. Right. Had I not been at home going like, okay, am I just gonna have music just be like you say, it's check to check? Yeah. And then even the booking thing, it's like, yeah, you can build it, but it's still like, how about 5 revenue streams? How about
Right.
6, 7, 8 revenue streams?
Right.
And now I want to, Joe and I, you and I have been talking for years, real estate investment. Now I'm really looking to make my first purchase with that. So, and those are things that create that long-term wealth instead of just always being in the mindset that we got to pay bills.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Just so you know, musicians do that. Like, if you check the history, Stevie Wonder, as an example, owns KJLH out in Los Angeles, the second biggest, if not the first biggest R&B station in California, right? That's a musician. Yeah. That's an artist musician, right? Your mind has to want to do that, though. Yeah. Right? And I think what musicians do is they're waiting for this huge check to come. Yeah. Right? But if you don't start thinking outside of your normal, that check will never come. Right. You could get the biggest tour dates. By the time you finish, you spend it because you're on the road. Like, you're spending while you're going, right? And you keep thinking, well, I got it tomorrow. And that's the problem. There's no innovation on how to move outside of comfortable. Yeah. And so that's what the pandemic's done for me. It's forced me to move outside of comfortable, and it's forced me to thought of comfortable. And even though I've always thought outside of comfortable naturally, this has really pushed it to the forefront.
Oh yeah. It's kicking you like, all right, this is it. This is what you got to do. Yeah.
Every day it's a reminder. Like, it's like a gun to your head. Like, oh yeah, I can't just. Like, it's not that no more.
Right. 100%. Oh man. So it's funny because this is where you need to be in the pandemic. If you listen, if you're watching, like, this is where you need to be. Like, just be forward thinking. Okay. So there has been a lot going on this weekend in sports in general. But obviously NBA playoffs is going off. And it's kind of been nuts. Like, just in every series almost, it's just been
different.
It's just been bananas. Like I always say, this is feeling.
You want to know why?
Why?
COVID.
Well, yeah, that part too.
COVID has forced the sport, the games, like, they're playing like they would play at LA Fitness. Like, it feels like there's no real crowd. Yeah. And there's no energy, and you're not playing at home. Yeah. So no one's playing at home. It's a real basketball game. Like, there's no home court advantage. There's no
role players is stepping up, doing whatever they gotta do.
It's like, dude, we play ball.
I really do think there's something to the crowd not being there and it being no home court advantage. Yeah. There's something to it because it's just different when you're playing with your team, the refs, and you than it is when you're playing with the stadium full of people or
100%.
Whatever full of people. It's different, and I think it's different people are going to perform differently. Yeah. It's the way it's weird, right?
And I think
and like I said, it's an opportunity for niggas to step up.
Yes.
Like, people are stepping up. Yeah. Like, people are like, I don't have the disadvantage. I don't have the home court screaming at me. I don't have the biased referee. I don't have so I'm going to stick it to you. Like, we playing at LA Fitness, or we playing that's what it feels like.
It's weird though too, right? Because any of these guys that may be in a contract year or are ready to renegotiate, their performance, they might be going off right now or playing above their normal level without the crowd there, and could be getting paid based on what they're doing in the bubble. Yeah. Right? Or vice versa. Like, guys may not be shining out that normally would because they feed off the crowd and the home crowd and all that. It's such weird times, man.
Yeah, it seems like the role players now, it's really even in the playing field, because they always say, like, role players play better, at home, but they're always at home. So now when you're getting a team, you're getting a team at full throttle almost every night, and you don't know where the points are going to come from or who's going to step. But that's why we saw the guy who was the guy that was playing for the Pacers?
TJ
Warren, who nobody ever heard of before, was just dropping like 40 a night. Like, and we're like, who is this guy? Like, where did he come from?
But this is my point. The pressure of is opportunity. Yeah. Like, you got to remember as well, the coach ain't got nothing to lose at this point.
Yeah.
So he's open to test and trial. Like they're in practice, and he's probably like going off, and he's looking at his kid like, "What the hell wrong with you?" Like, you just and when they said that, I remember watching the playoffs, and they talked about the playoffs going back out. You know, in the beginning, I said this is gonna change. You know, when they said they were going to Orlando I was like, this is gonna change the whole process,
and it did.
And I was like, LeBron and those guys, you in trouble.
Yeah.
Because now I get to prove to you that I can really play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to play like the rules and regulations are shifting right now. And, and now some real stars are coming, like some real talented people are coming to the forefront. And I think the NBA is going to look very different next year because I don't know if they're going to be able to go back.
Yeah.
The way, I just don't know. I don't know. Is it going to go back to how it was before?
Right. We don't,
if this is the level that basketball is at.
Yeah, you know I mean? Right. Trying to guess what it's gonna look like in the future is just crazy. But okay, so you brought up LeBron. Let's look at where the bracket is right now. So the Lakers and Houston series is tied up 1-1. This is another thing to what you were saying. Like Houston has really been balling. They really just been killing.
Balling,
you know what I'm saying? They've been balling out. Everybody, like PJ Tucker's hitting threes, like, you know, House Jr., who I haven't heard of until the bubble, has been hitting, like they're all 3-point shooters. The only person who's really not been playing great has been Russell Westbrook. Bron did he's just doing what GOATs do and did another GOAT thing. He passed who was it? Ray Allen for a second on the all-time leader in all-time 3 points made in the playoffs. So he's now second behind Stephen Curry.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So he did that the last game.
It's crazy that Steph Curry started playing after him.
I know.
But that's also what happens when you just play for a very long time. You start breaking records.
Let me tell you something. He could he can play. A lot of people played a long years in the league, but for him to not be a shooter and to be second, because he, you know what I'm saying, and to be second all time, and we don't consider him a shooter, you know what I mean? Like that's some GOAT stuff, you know what I mean? Because people forget,
it's definitely some top 5 player of all time shit for sure.
It's definitely top one. It's definitely top one. But so with this Rockets Lakers series, it's making me nervous because I'm watching James Harden play. And he doesn't have to do anything to get a foul call but raise his arms in the air. And it's like, if that's how the refs going to call the game, the Lakers is in trouble. Like, it's like he can get a foul call at any given point in time. And it's like, at this point, you would think that the referees would be like, okay, we're not going to fall for that. Like, when somebody breathes on you, like, it's not an automatic foul. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So at this point, it's looking like the Rockets have as good of a chance as anybody to come out of this series because James Harden, and they shoot in a ridiculous amount of threes. They're like an AAU team. Like, they just don't stop shooting threes. And so last game they were down 20 something in the second quarter, and they outscored the Lakers by 20 points in the third quarter. So they won the third quarter 40-20 something.
Well, firstly, good coaching that, you know, for allowing him to shoot those threes, right? Because at the end of the day, that's a tall team. So you don't want to keep dealing with that. You don't want to say after a while, you don't. So the only way is to force them out. You know what I'm saying? And you shoot in threes, you break down the defense, and now you're like, shit. And now you go uncomfortable because it's like, damn, like we really got to pay attention. So, you know, I think that's great coaching, you know what I mean, from that and using the team, because it ain't just like, normally it's just Harden.
Yeah.
Or normally it's just, you know what I mean? It's like literally the whole
and adjustments. So that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of this is going to come down to coaching, because when I watch back some of these plays where they was really like killing the Lakers on offense, it's James Harden attacking the paint with 4 guys standing on the 3-point line. Yep. So when he's kicking it after the double team, they're scrambling. And it's like, yo, y'all got to stay home, because you can't be chasing the ball. They teach you that in middle school. Like, don't chase the ball. Chase your man. So they're scrambling, and somebody is always getting a wide open three. So it's like, if
like
y'all do that, y'all not going to beat them.
Once again, good coaching for even attempting that, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, when you're dealing with height, that there's advantages and there's disadvantages to it. You know what I mean?
But that's the other thing too. Speaking of the height situation, like if you're Anthony Davis, you got to get your butt down on the block and just call for the ball. I'm tired of seeing him shoot these like corner fadeaways, and like, bro, PJ Tucker is 6'5". Like you should be bullying him for at least 30 a game every night. It's no excuse for you to do that. And Anthony Davis to me is the key in this series. Like if Anthony Davis doesn't average 30 and 15, that's the other thing. Like you can't get out rebounded by the smallest team in the league. In the bubble.
You can't, but you can if you guys aren't focusing on the rebound. Right. I just don't know if the Lakers are focused on the aspects of the team. I think they think they've got this in the bag. And I
do too.
I think they got this in the bag, and I think this Houston beating them the other day makes them kind of have to sit back and be like, all right, we got to reconfigure. I think you're going to see a different game the next one. I think they're going to try and take them out real early and LeBron's going to try and go in for the kill.
Oh, I think so too.
And wreck them. But I think what Houston is proving to them is, hey, man, like, we ain't no punks, and we can take you out inside or outside the court, depending on whichever way. And now, hopefully, Coach sees that and can use that to kind of reconfigure the team.
I think Vogel needs a head check. Like this is when the Bill Belichick's of the world shine, because you got to exploit your strengths, right? Your strength is size in this series. So you shouldn't be taking a bunch of 10 and 15 foot jumpers. You know what I'm saying? Like you should be attacking them in the paint. You should be out rebounding them. In game one, they were even on the boards, and in game two, they only won the rebounding by 6. That's a problem.
That's a poor. I mean, for a tall team, I think the scariest part is that, you know, LeBron is taking that many threes. Firstly, like, why are you taking that many threes? You're the biggest one on the team.
Bully ball. I'm saying bully. If I'm Coach Vogel, I'm like, this is what we're going to do. Bully ball. That's it. Like, we going to the paint. We taking it to them, because what you do is too, when you do that, when they're shooting threes, because they can get hot, but they can get cold too. So if you're playing bully ball and they hit that stretch where they're cold, you just building a lead, just being consistent and building a lead on them. And they've done it in spurts. That's why they ended up going up 20-something in the second quarter of the last game. They've done it, but they're not consistent with it. So they got to be consistent with it, or this series is going to go like 7.
And then reverse the play. Like, when they start closing in on you, just reverse the play and push it back out. I mean, like I said, as much as I blame the players, I also blame coaching. Coaching's very important, and coach got to step his game up in the next game. Like, he really do got to step his game up. Yeah,
100%. So Denver versus the Nuggets versus the Clippers. The Clippers just went up a game 2-1 in that series. It looks like that Denver can play with the Clippers. But they just seem like they're inexperienced and like a little. 1,000. It's
and
just
it's
like
around one player, bro. It's
around
one player. Like.
But the thing that's killing me in this series is watching a guy who dropped almost 100 points in 4 games in the last series come in, and I feel like Jamal Murray is playing so passive in this series, and I don't understand it. Like, I'm watching him dribble the ball down, pass the rock, and then kind of just back up and just watch the play. Like, you watching the game like we watching the game. What are you doing? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
I think it's different though, dribbling the ball up court and seeing that backcourt that they've got. I think it's a little different, because when you're seeing Kawhi and PG and Pat Bev, there's nothing else like that in the league that you got to stare at when you're driving up. And I think their game plan's probably to get Joker going, and he's going. I mean, Joker's he's playing at
Joker
a very
needs
high
help.
level.
That's my point with Murray. Yeah. Like, first of all, no matter who's there. So let's be clear. This Clippers front court can be had, and we've seen it happen before. We just saw it. We just saw it in the series before when Luka was getting whatever he wanted. So
yeah, but they were missing.
They are not Jordan and Pippen. They aren't.
No.
Like if you,
but they were also
them,
missing
you can
Pat
get what
Bev.
you want.
They're also missing one piece though.
Right.
And Murray, as good as he is, it does not have the height and the size advantage that Luka has.
But Murray is not even attacking, is my point.
Well, I feel you.
He's not even a trying. You know what I'm saying? Murray has the ability to go off for 40 and 50 a night, and we've seen it. You know what I'm saying? We've seen it. So for him to not even, it's just he's playing so passive, and it's like, yo, the one thing that you do got to do is put pressure on that defense. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because even if you're not going off, you can at least just the contact will get them in foul trouble, right? And you force them to play defense is what I'm saying. He's not even doing that.
I get it, but I just, again, I think it's easier said than done playing against Donovan Mitchell, who is about his size. He might even be a little bigger than him, and playing against PG and Kawhi.
You can always try though. He's not even trying. Like he's not even.
Yeah, but
he's not even trying.
The shots he is taking, his shooting percentage is poor.
Yeah.
But he has to get going because they're not going to beat him.
That's what I'm saying.
They're not going to beat him if he doesn't get going.
The Joker. That's what I mean when I say I think they can play with them. Joker is showing up. Like Joker is the reason why they was in that game, the last game, and they've had opportunities to win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He needs help.
Joker is who really showed up to the reason they even won the Utah series. Oh yeah. That last game, it was Joker's game, but Murray showed up at the end.
Yeah.
To get it done, but I mean,
but the difference in those series were that the Joker was attacking because you need to attack them. That's all Luka did. Luka was just attacking them, attacking. And if one got in foul trouble, he would just go after the other one. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can put pressure on their front court and get, especially when you're as talented as Murray. Like Jamal Murray is a little underrated, and I think we've seen that in spots. And so if you can be Jamal Murray and attack, we're not saying drop 50 a game, but if he's attacking and being Jamal Murray, it's no reason why he couldn't be averaging 25 and 30 in this series. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that would make the series much more interesting. So I'm just, again, coaching. Like, is his coach going to him and saying, yo, like, wake up, bro. Like, let's go. It's time to go. It's game time. You know what I mean?
Do you think maybe he played such a strong game that day? He burnt himself.
I really don't know. I don't know if it's
pressure because
like maybe it's pressure.
Bro, when you have like an astounding game, like you literally saved your team.
Yeah,
like you literally saved your team.
Yeah.
He may be burnt out.
He might be. Yeah, Murray.
Jamal, like he may be burnt out, bro.
He might be.
I don't think he's burnt out. I really do think it's just that much. You know what it's like. If you go and play pickup ball, you know when you can do whatever you want to a guy guarding you, or when you're matched up pretty well. I know, even when I was a pretty good player, I knew when a guy was guarding me, or there were two guys, or even three dudes. When I was like, all right, I'm not gonna be able to do what I normally do. That doesn't mean you don't be aggressive, but you simply go about it different. And PG defending you and Kawhi defending you and now Pat Bev being there as well is just a lot. It's just different than Mike Conley, Mitchell. As good as they are, it's
different. But your mentality can't be to retract. And right now we're talking about somebody whose literally mentality isn't go time. It isn't being aggressive.
Do you think it's mentality though? Or do you think that the strategy is like, hey, we got to have Joker be the dude because he's the one with the mismatches, and then Michael Porter Jr. He's young. But we got to have our 6'10" budding star.
I think it's mentality because I'm watching them. I'm watching him literally like just come down and not even try. It's mentality to me because they're not really doing anything different as far as X's and O's. He's just like taking himself out of the game at times. You know what I'm saying? I think it's mentality.
Do you think Denver's ready? I just feel like Denver still
I don't.
needs.
Well, they're not the better team. They're not
no,
the better
they're not.
team.
Yeah, they're not.
But
I mean, so the inexperience is kicking in.
Yeah, they definitely inexperienced. I just think that there's another level to go as far as effort. And that's all I'm saying. It's just another level to go as far as effort.
Well, I would imagine. Look, they got one W, and I would imagine he's gonna be aggressive this next one. Because if they're gonna win this series,
I feel like some people work better under the pressure.
Yeah.
Of losing, like, you know, Michael Jordan always worked better, or so, like his super strength came in when he felt like he had a point to prove, right?
Yeah.
And he might have that syndrome. Like, it is a syndrome. Like, it's actually I don't know if it's a disorder, but it definitely is a thing that some people perform better when they are in a losing or have something to prove.
Yeah.
Rather than when they know they're already ahead. Right?
Yeah, like maybe
this lack of motivation. Because remember, like I said, Jamal really showed up when they needed it. Like they really needed it.
They needed it every point.
Like it was like we need you to show up.
Yeah, 100%. Every point.
And he did. Like he got emotional after that. So I think that's kind of could be some people's driving force. You know, where for us it's like, man, win the game and be ahead.
Right. So the Boston and Toronto series kind of took a turn. It looked like Boston was going to run away with this series. And they have not. Raptors came back. They won 2 straight. So the Celtics are up 3-2 right now. I'm still picking Boston to win the series. I'm just kind of surprised.
They routed them last game.
They did.
They routed them bad.
They did. I think they're going to win it still, but I didn't think that they was going to drop 2 games to them. I don't think they should have dropped 2 games to them.
I didn't either. Well, I'm not mad if they win the series 4-2. I'm not mad at 4-2.
I'm not mad at that either.
If it goes 3-3, I'm going to be like, look, I know you guys are young, but we got to get this done. They shouldn't be bringing you to 7 games.
I know, but look, the Toronto Raptors also got something to prove, man. Like
they do.
They lost their main man. Like
they do, and they've got all the experience, and they've got all this experience. Who all of them have won a chip now. They've all won a chip. They know what it takes.
But that's what we was talking about in that Denver series. Like that experience is valuable, and I think you're seeing that with Toronto.
Experience is so underrated.
They closing games out. Kyle Lowry is like, at times Kyle Lowry is the best player on the floor. Now we know it's Jason Tatum, really, but just like with the intangibles and the experience, it's like you can see it's something different with Kyle Lowry. You know what I'm saying?
Experience to me is the most underrated thing, and not just in sports, in business, in life, in relationships. I used to, looking back on how stupid I was 5 years ago, a year ago, to how I am now. Experience is so important that analysts talk about it a little bit. It's so important.
It's the most important part of taking the game to the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know,
and
LeBron,
the little things, the details.
LeBron can show you that. LeBron has shown you that multiple times that his experience will win this. You know what I mean? Exactly. I don't think you remember when Boston they were playing the Lakers and it was like they were playing the Cavs and it was like, is Boston going to take this? Yeah. And LeBron was like, calm down, little boy. Yeah. I understand you feeling, you the rookie right now. You feeling real good. But take this down. This is how you win a game.
Right.
You're right. And you know, experience is always key because that pressure is so strong, it's so high, and everything is at risk.
Right.
You know what I mean? Down to the last second, it's at risk. So, you know, I think the Toronto Raptors be very aware. I don't know. I think.
I wouldn't be surprised if they won a couple more games and pushed this to 7. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
I feel like the Raptors may take the next one.
Yeah,
just
they might.
To make sure that they're still in the game.
Yeah,
they got. You know, them boys.
I can see them doing that.
Them boys, Lowry's he ain't no joke, bro.
Yeah, for real. Speaking of experience, this Heat Bucks series is a situation where I think you see that grit and that experience showing up again with the Heat. And again, a little bit of Giannis being exposed a little bit there in that series. And now he's hurt. He's officially out They said he's out for
No,
game.
he is.
Yeah, they said he's out for game 5, I think. So I mean, but the thing is, this series was over when they went up 3-0. I think people have vastly overrated Giannis for a long time. And I think now is we gotta look at it for what it is. Like, okay, Giannis has a lot of holes in his game that he has to shore up. And when we see when he plays a quality team, they go, we're gonna stop you from just tiptoeing to the lane and doing whatever you want to do. And we're gonna try to clamp down on everybody else. And you see it working. And this Heat team is gritty. And Jimmy Butler has that experience where he makes the right decisions in the right moments. And in close games, I trust the Heat more than I trust, the Bucks.
The Bucks.
And so that's just what it is.
I don't know. I don't know if that team. I don't know if it's a fair match.
Yeah.
I feel like the Heat, no, they got.
I think it's over. I think it's over. But speaking of the Giannis and the overrated thing, there was a situation. I don't know if y'all saw the tweet, but there was a tweet that who was it? Richard Jefferson put out. So let's put a tweet up real quick. So Richard Jefferson said, he tweeted, Giannis might be a Pippen, ... There I said it. He needs his Jordan. Okay. Then Jay Williams retweeted that and said, so LeBron was Pippen with D Wade once. Nothing wrong with that until you get over the hump. LeBron saw it, retweeted that, and responded, explain to me what the fucks I got to do with this subject matter. I'm over here minding my damn business, preparing for Houston. And by the way, I ain't never been nobody but my damn self. Okay. So there was a lot that was going to. I didn't expect LeBron to respond at all, and he did. I guess because he's not doing 0 Dark 30 this year. Is Giannis? Let's start here. Is Giannis a Pippen? Before we even get to the LeBron Pippen thing, is Giannis a Pippen?
Yes,
I would say yes too. What say you, JT?
I would say he might be if he was winning a championship right now, which is why I talk about beautiful, amazing, glorious things like him going to the Warriors. But I don't know. I think he could be a number one. I just think he's still young and he's still developing. He's won an MVP, so the expectations go big, but we don't know yet. I mean, LeBron, and I will also say that Jay Williams is right. LeBron, it was different, but LeBron was a Pippen when it came to the
He was never a Pippen.
Yes, he was.
So let's talk about that.
Yes,
that's where we're going. That's where we're going.
When you're the second leading scorer on your team to win a championship for the series, you're the Pippen.
No, he was not. LeBron was leader, and Wade handed him that leadership.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
He handed it to him. He was like, hey, this your time. Shine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna play Pippen.
But he didn't hand it to him right away is the point.
But that's why they lost. That's why
right. But I'm not saying LeBron was the Pippen for the and maybe I should have clarified. I think what Jay Williams meant, because if I were to say something like this, what I would mean, he was a Pippen and became the number one, became the Jordan on that same team. I'm not saying he was there the whole time he was in Miami, he was a Pippen. But in the beginning, especially when they lost that series and it had to be handed over, and essentially he had to learn from D Wade, nothing wrong with it, but for that time period, he wasn't the guy that was going to get the job.
So when LeBron got to Miami, who was the best player on that team?
Dwayne Wade.
There's no way in hell. Dwayne Wade wouldn't even tell you that. Like there's no way. There's no way in hell.
But the performance
LeBron was the best player.
That.
LeBron. No. Who was the? I don't mean who played better, who played stronger, who played smarter. When he got to the team, and you look at the roster, and you go, this is the best player on this team. Who was the best player on that team?
It should have been LeBron, but he wasn't ready to get it done. That's the point.
So you're talking about.
I don't think he wasn't.
You're talking about playoff failures, but I'm talking about who was literally pound for pound the best player on that team. It was LeBron. LeBron was the best player in the league that time, right?
And
when
he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be. He was supposed to be.
Just so you know, when you move over to teams like that, especially a powerful team like that, even though they open the door, it's an adjustment, right? So I feel like everybody had to adjust to him.
Right,
like,
and that's what happened.
Adjust the game. That I feel like they adjusted. He had to learn the team. The team had to learn him. Wade was already the leader, and it was like, hey, bro, I'm a role play lead right now, but eventually I'm gonna hand this over to you.
Yeah,
and that's basically what happened.
And it was what happened was there was a struggle.
And don't forget, Michael Jordan had the same experience too. When he went over to the Bulls, he didn't just go straight, I'm the best player. He had to kind of like find that role.
Yeah. And there was a struggle.
I gotta break in real quick.
Go ahead.
First of all, LeBron from day one said, this is my shit. So I'm going to disagree with you there. And especially because after watching The Last Dance and going back and watching Jordan. I'm sorry. Did I say LeBron?
Yeah,
Jordan.
Yeah,
from the moment he stepped in, I mean, I'm not, maybe it was a few games, but it wasn't like half a season or a quarter of a season. He was like, he knew from the moment he stepped in there, like, this is my thing, which is why there was so much of this hype around Jordan right from when he started, because he took over the league. But LeBron, and I'm not even, and you can look at his regular season stats and go, oh no, he was the best player. He was the best player before. He was the best player when he got there. But then we're just talking about Giannis, because his stats during the regular season say he's the best player. When you watch his performance during the regular season,
it wasn't as strictly numbers.
Player.
Giannis is winning MVPs.
But record results and stats.
But Giannis is winning MVPs strictly off of stats. That's, you know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
not strictly off of stats. Also off of his team performing well and having a great record.
Giannis again, but the thing is, Giannis hasn't been considered the unanimous best player in the league. Like, that's not a thing that's been happening. Like, people have been putting him in the conversation possibly because we see the numbers and we see this.
Right.
LeBron joining the Heat before he even got to the Heat was unanimously considered the best player in the league. At no point.
That's not true, though.
It is true.
Some people thought that. Other people didn't. And for the reason
guess what? Nobody thought for sure that Dwayne Wade was the best player in the league.
I don't believe that.
Because
at that point, Dwayne, I will not say no one thought that. That's not true. There were plenty of people who thought Dwayne Wade was better.
The year LeBron got to the Heat, Jason.
Why not? He won a championship already.
He won a championship.
He'd already won a championship.
Before.
He was established. But my point
was
is,
calling Dwayne Wade washed by the time LeBron got there.
No, that's not true.
You're saying Dwayne Wade was never considered the best player in the league ever.
Joe, you're talking about some people. You're telling me there wasn't a big group of people that thought Dwayne Wade might be better?
We're talking about Heat fans? I'm not talking about Heat
Dwayne Wade fans. I mean, there's sections of people believe that. I guarantee it.
No. Dwayne Wade,
and then when you go to your first finals with the Heat and the numbers he put up, Dwayne Wade also looked like the better player in the finals.
So again, you're talking about who performed better in certain series. That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about generally the people who know and watch the sport and know the game. There are errors in different times where there's only a handful of players that we can go, this player was unanimously considered the best player in the league. We're talking about Kobe. We're talking about Jordan. We're talking about those type of players, right?
I don't know
Dwayne Wade was in the league. Dwayne Wade went from Kobe being the best player to LeBron being at no point was people going, Dwayne Wade is the best player in the NBA.
You're unanimously
like the people who know, like, you know what I mean? Like that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but
that's a very good point. Like, he didn't come into the league the best player.
Yeah.
And never was established as the best player.
No.
Even though for the Heat, he was a great player for the Heat.
He was great,
right? But what I will say is when LeBron came over there with the Heat, there was talks of him being a washed-up player too. Like, he was done. Like, he was old.
Yeah. I'll give another example, and it's tough because every relationship's different when it comes to players that are playing together. And no one's like Kareem, Magic. No one's like Jordan, Pippen. But I thought Kevin Garnett, when he was with the Celtics, I think he's the best player on that team. But Paul Pierce was the Jordan on that team because he's the one that got it done from a scoring perspective and hitting the big shot. So Did I think LeBron was probably a better basketball player than Dwayne Wade? Yeah, I did when he went to Miami. But when you're talking about who was the Pippen and who was the Jordan at first, that's a different conversation.
But that's what we're getting to when we call somebody a Pippen. We're talking about the fact that at no point was Scottie Pippen ever considered the best player in the league or the world or the best player on his
number two.
He was always the number two. You're right. So when we say things like, well, LeBron was a Pippen,
but Pippen
wasn't ever. Like,
but Pippen wasn't as good as either one of those players we're talking about either. There's a
right, but we're just talking about the dynamic between the two.
There was never like Pippen and Jordan.
Was as good as Wade.
Pippen and Jordan, no. Pippen and Jordan were never considered a 1A and 1B. It was never like, that you could kind of go interchangeable. Dwayne and LeBron were considered, he could kind of be Batman and he's Superman.
No, that's when it didn't work.
Shaq and Dwayne Wade
that's
was
what
like
I'm
Batman
saying.
and Superman.
That's when it didn't work. That's when, because even Dwayne Wade said, we can't be 1A. You're the greatest player in the world, so we're gonna win. That's when he passed him the mantle and was like, we can't be one, because that's what LeBron was trying to do.
But that's what I'm saying.
But
the mantle had to be,
at no point
during
that, right? But what we're saying is, when you call somebody, just to your point, you just made the point. Pippen and Jordan were never 1A and 1B, ever, right?
Right.
At worst, LeBron and Wade was 1A and 1B. That's what we're saying.
But that's
at worst. He was never a Pippen.
I understand, but
he was 1A and 1B.
But that's what I'm saying, why it's a unique situation. I'm not saying I'm just saying it's a unique situation because clearly LeBron coming in was considered a better player by most people. Right. That was never the Pippen. I mean, the Pippen Dwayne Wade comparison. It's not really even close, because Dwayne Wade.
Why are we saying that Jay Williams was wrong? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like,
because Dwayne Wade was considered. I mean, in his prime, a top 3 or 4 player in the league. He was incredible. Pippen was considered like maybe a top 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a different thing.
I think that's why people was looking at Jay like he was crazy, because I think the consensus was, even when they lost and they had to figure out, they lost because they were doing a tuggle between 1A and 1B, and Dwayne Wade was like, yo, you got this. You know what I'm saying? But as far as Giannis' situation, I think Giannis is I think his best situation is him being a Pippen on somebody's championship team. Like, I don't think that Giannis, you know what I mean? I don't think
he can drive a whole team. That's what I personally don't think.
I don't. Not unless he shores up his game in a way that we haven't seen him do.
Or not unless they get someone who can play next to him and support him. The same way.
I was just gonna say that. I think he's just got to get better. Like, I think he could be a number 1, he could be a number 2, but but even as a number 2. He's got to get better. Like, you can't be a number 2 and not be able to shoot.
Be able to shoot. Yes, 100%.
So I do believe. But then again, if he does get the shot shored up, I totally believe he's a number 1, because now he's completely unstoppable.
Yeah, right. He got to fix those holes. He got to fix those holes.
He's got to work, man.
What do we think about Steve Nash being hired by the Nets? Like,
I'll start because Steve Nash is my dude. Not only did I meet Steve, he went to Santa Clara University, where my coach went. So I got to meet him and watch him do a demonstration after he won the college 3-point contest. Was amazed by what he was able to accomplish in his career. Part of that rookie class with Kobe and Iverson and Steph Marbury, right? Ray Allen. I think it's incredible because it's Steve Nash, and I think he'll make a great coach. But the problem is, you've got a Nets team that is ready to go right next season, because their stars are ready to play. But this is what I think. He could be the next Steve Kerr. And I think a big reason he got that gig is because he's heavily involved with the Warriors organization. He was heavily involved with Durant when Durant was playing for the Warriors. He was training Durant, Steph Curry, all these guys. So I think he got that gig in large part because Durant loves him.
Yes.
And because of that, and because Durant, some people will forget, us three do not forget, Durant's incredible. He was arguably the best player in the league for a while, for a reason, because I don't believe he was, but he was arguably because of how good he frickin' is, right? and LeBron was giving him a lot of clout for a while because of how great he is. Kevin Durant's on another level. LeBron's on another level. There's only a few guys that are on that level. With that team and the fact that he's a champion already and Kyrie's a champion already, with that IQ out there and the ability, I think it could work because to me, if they've got a team that can do it and Tyronn Lue can go win it as a first-time coach, I don't see any reason Steve Nash can do it. Not because he's great, but because of the team he's got.
So here's the thing, and you brought up Tyronn. You brought up Tyronn Lue, and I thought that Tyronn should have been considered more seriously for this job. And here's why I don't love the Tyronn Lue comparison, because Tyronn Lue was an understudy for Doc Rivers for a while, right? Tyronn Lue was on the coaching staff, and he moved his way up the bench for a couple years, right? So not only did Tyronn Lue get the X's and O's mentality and the mentoring from somebody who's great and a great coach firsthand, but he also saw Doc Rivers manage egos and manage personalities, which is a big part of coaching
for sure
star power teams,
for sure,
right?
But guess who didn't have that experience? Steve Kerr.
I'm gonna get to that.
He had zero.
I'm gonna get.
But his team wasn't necessarily superstars when he had it.
Right. I was just about to get here because
Steve Kerr and them built that team together as a unit. Like they became stars together. That wasn't a star. That team
became star power and was literally built from the ground up. That team did not have the egos and the star power that a LeBron driven team had, or that a Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant team had. So now you take a rookie coach, not a rookie coach who has zero coaching experience, has never coached on any level in any basketball sphere, and you take him and you drop him in on maybe the most egocentric team in the NBA. You have flat earth guy, and then you have burner account Twitter guy on the same team, where one guy literally lights every team he goes to on fire and it burns. And then the other guy has this like passive aggressive, like I got to answer everybody back, even if it's some guy in his mom's basement and he's coming at me. Right. So you have that, and you throw this guy in and say, not only do you need to corral this team, but you need to manage the two biggest egos in the NBA. I don't like it. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Like JT said, he does have a relationship with KD.
He does. And I think that's how he got the job.
He may be able to. I think he may, when you have a relationship like that, he may know KD in a way that others don't, right? But then like Michael Jordan with Phil, there's a mutual respect. So you kind of change your perspective of things when you respect the person who's leading you. So that might be what they're hoping for. They're hoping that
it's just a big hope to me.
Between them two.
It is a big hope. It is a big hope. But again, like, especially in basketball, it only works with the right star and the right stars and the right team. And that's why I'm saying with Kevin Durant, I think it could work. I wouldn't, if he got the gig for like, let's say the Suns, they want to hire their old star and they've got, they're not poised to win a championship yet, but it's not necessarily, you're taking a first-time coach. But when you got Kevin Durant, a lot of the coaching is going on the floor anyway. He'll be fine. Steve Nash, one of the best on-court
X's and O's, I don't really worry about.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
A lot of these type of teams is managed. Phil Jackson had to manage the egos of Kobe and Shaq and of Jordan. That's why they attribute
Steve Nash, Yes. And that's why my next thing is Steve Nash also played with Kobe, played with Dwight Howard, played with a lot of guys with big Amari Stoudemire. So I feel like obviously that experience will help. So I'll tell you what, I'm excited. I'm excited.
On-court experience has to be counted as experience.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. On-court experience has to be counted experience. Locker room experience has to be counted experience because he's been in there. He's seen the fights. He's seen the arguments. He's seen the stresses. He's been on the line. He's been on the line with them. He's had to take a lot of big shots and make, take risks with his teammates. So I think he will be able to handle it. I think he will be. I think they trust him enough to be able to handle it. That's why they give him the opportunity.
Yeah, and
I just think they want something young and fresh.
Right. The scary thing to me is not the regular season. Regular season, whatever. It's when you get in the playoffs, and Steve Nash obviously is very poised, big shot maker, very calm, cool, collected guy. But you're making decisions your first time ever coaching in the playoffs, and you don't have a team that's expected to maybe just make the playoffs.
Right.
Next year, you're expected to compete for
win a championship
right from the get-go.
Yes.
So it's
like literally the definition of throwing someone in the deep end, like for sure.
If the Nets don't make the Eastern Conference Finals next year with the way the Bucks are looking, and obviously the Celtics are probably the team,
it's a complete failure.
It's a failure.
So it's gonna be.
That's the tough part.
It's gonna be interesting to see.
Well, I think KD's gonna want to play. I think Kyrie's gonna want to play, and because they're hungry to play, and seeing everything that's taking place, I think they're gonna come out determined to win. Period. You know what I mean?
It's gonna be.
You know what I mean? I think it's gonna be a like I said, a mindset. Everybody is gonna try and configure how to make it work.
Yeah.
If they can manage egos, and because I think they want to win so bad, especially for New York.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna check their egos at the door. Now the following season may be different. Yeah. But I think they all have one agenda next year, which is to win. It's a very important thing for them to win. So when you have that agenda, you can really make a team work together, even if it's only 3 of y'all. Yeah. Because you have one goal. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
I'm also thinking Kyrie will respect Steve. I think he'll respect him on a different level, because I think Kyrie even played against Steve Nash. And Kyrie, as he was growing up, that's when Steve was in his prime. I think, and I guarantee you, KD and Steve talked, and I would imagine Kyrie and Steve had a conversation at some point.
I'm sure, yeah.
I think if there was going to be a first-time coach like this, he's the guy,
Yeah.
But it's break or bust.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Who do you think New York's who do you think their third man's going who do you think their third man is?
Like the third option?
I like Spencer Dinwiddie. Like that team that's the thing. Like that team also has a lot of other like budding stars who are like looking like I'm ready for this. Like we were making the playoffs before all of you guys got here. You Steve Nash, you Kevin Durant, you Kyrie, and I was leading. Spencer Dinwiddie was leading that. What's the other guy? I can't remember the other guy's name. But like that team also, there's some budding egos there. Like, yo, we've been doing this before y'all got here. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be the other interesting thing to see. Okay, let's get out of here on a couple rapid fire topics. Have you guys seen the reason why Odell Beckham Jr. has been trending?
No.
Perfect. Let's find out why. Here we go. Here's a little video.
You can keep it. Bombs.
Okay, I will tell y'all the story.
Oh, allegedly. We're avoiding lawsuits here.
Yeah, allegedly.
We're dodging.
Okay. Yes, he loves to be shitted on.
Ooh. Okay,
that was my first time ever. I never
thought. Did it? You actually did it?
I actually couldn't shit. Okay, I couldn't shit. Okay,
I don't think I could shit on the baby either. What the fuck?
I could not do it. That was something like I'm a wild ass. I could do some freak asshole shit. You know what I'm saying? But the shit part, you can't just do that to me like on the spot. What?
Like shit on
right
me
now. Okay, he wanted me to come on a plane. And he was like, make sure you don't have any underwear. Don't take a shower for 24 hours. I'm like, damn, what the fuck you on? But he was like, take a picture. This is how I got flown out. He was like, take a picture of me. You shitting. So I was like, all right, fuck, I could do that. So I took a whole video, bitch. What you want? I was like,
I love you. You took a video?
Of me shitting. So I sent it to him. I got like the next maybe 2 hours I was in Houston.
Was it like a selfie video? How did you do this?
I was just
I need that. I need lessons.
Shitting, just like I made it sexy as possible.
Of course. I'm gonna do that. I feel like anything you do is sexy. I just we got the blueprint here. Fuck it.
Okay. So Odell Beckham was trending. He was trending because he was trending because
that was so funny. I just shit myself.
He was trending because some I don't know. Somebody's I actually heard that it was Chief Keef's baby mom or something like that was on a podcast and was talking about how Odell apparently he likes to be defecated on.
I'm glad you used that word.
I mean, I'm trying to clean it up.
For people with weak vocabulary, that means being shitted on.
I'm trying to clean it up. I don't know.
Just to be clear.
Like,
I hate you.
I don't know what to believe with this. You know, from the looks of her, Odell can do a lot better. So I don't know, you know, but then again, like we've heard of some stars both on the athletes and music side into some weird stuff. So let's just leave it at allegedly.
I'm gonna say this. When we watched that video, Joe, of him when the other football player from the opposite team bends over.
Oh yeah.
And we were thinking, oh, he's checking him out.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He was just imagining getting shit on.
No.
That's why he was looking over. He was just like, man, the shit that would come out of that.
Listen, I don't know.
Oh my God. This is
why
much.
Odell is a lot to have on your team. Just right here.
I mean, it's the ego again. It's the superstardom. It's that, you know, you got to do whatever it is.
And this is why you need to choose your women wisely, whether you are single or not.
I'm just very, very shocked that there wasn't any NDAs or anything any form of protection. Like, it's like,
smart.
Are we just out there now? We don't care.
Just having anybody come, y'all texting these girls.
Even if it was anybody, at least, where's your agent? Where's your manager? Where's your whole, like who? Like, you're supposed to have like something to make sure this is a clean transaction.
Y'all texting these girls. It's like
definitely not a clean transaction.
It's definitely not a clean transaction. It's definitely okay. We're gonna leave Odell.
It was a shitty transaction.
We're gonna leave Odell. Tyson, Mike Tyson was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was saying a lot of interesting things. Just this little nugget: the fight was supposed to be this weekend, and it got pushed back to November 28th. I'm very excited, and we're looking forward to seeing that fight. But it got pushed back.
I was so pissed about that. I shit myself.
Oh my God, I can't. I'm trying to leave Odell alone, y'all. But they won't let me. They won't let me leave from this Odell situation.
This Roy Jones Tyson fight is some serious shit. Let me tell you that.
I'm trying to get away from Odell. Okay.
I'm all for it, JT.
I'm so done with Odell.
Keep it coming.
I'm leaving Odell. Mike Tyson was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he said some very interesting things. One of the nuggets that I liked was, I feel bad that I can hurt somebody like I can, but at the same time, sometimes it's orgasmic. This is what he literally said this, and I almost pulled over on
as
the side
we just learned, weird shit sometimes turns people on in weird ways.
So just so you know, right? That man was born to fight.
Oh, it's a fact.
Right. I've had the pleasure of having him in my house.
Really? Mike Tyson?
Mike Tyson has stayed in my house.
What? How did this happen?
Like, true talk, and it was the most random night. It's most random shit. And I was very scared for my life because this Negro is a real monster. Like, but not in a, like, he's a monster on one end, but actually a puppy on the other end. Right?
I know. So, everybody says he's like the gentle.
And you just wonder what it takes to click that over.
Exactly. But that switch is very loose.
I know. That's what everybody says.
Switch, and if you switch that motherfucker on, it's a wrap. So I'm just letting you know, I met him I ended up picking him up one day.
Uh-huh.
This was so it's my first year in Los Angeles 10 years ago.
Wow.
I moved to LA, right? It's so crazy that you brought up Mike.
Wow.
I moved to LA, and so I lived at the Avalon off Ventura, right? And so it's a very common place for people who were just living in that guy. So my next door neighbor was this girl who was like 6'7", right?
Yeah.
And she just used to stand out, like the tallest girl you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And she would just stand out. So we became cool. Me and her and our friends, we all became cool. So we all hang out. Didn't know that her and Mike Tyson's wife were best friends.
Oh, okay.
So one night, Mike Tyson's supposed to be at rehab, right?
Uh-huh.
And he leaves rehab because he just doesn't want to be there, and he's trying to like smoke some weed, right?
Yeah.
So she calls me and says he's in LA, in Hollywood, in Beverly Hills, behind a weed store trying to get some weed. I gotta go get him. She's just like, Holmes, can you come with me? I said, to go where? She said, to go get Mike Tyson. I said, Mike who? Hell no, goddamn Mike. And he to get weed? No, that means he's irritated right now. I ain't trying to mess with him. Anyway, I was driving a 2008 or 2007 Navigator. So one of them big ass truck boat things, right?
Yeah.
So I'm driving to go get him. I get there, I park behind this building, and I see him just sitting there like I don't know, I can't even explain it. I was like, is that Michael? I said, is that Mike Tyson? She said, yes. I said, why is he so big? He looks so big.
Wow.
So she gets out, she's like, Mike, here's your weed. You know what I'm saying? Whoop-de-whoop. He's just like, man, I just wanted to smoke my weed. I ain't want to be in the rehab thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was having a bit of a day. So she goes, yo, we need to take him back to the crib. I said, in my car? She was like, yeah. She was like, so she said, he was like, who's that? I said, my name's Harmony, sir. My name's Harmony. I'm from London. So he goes, all right. He jumps in the car. He's sitting right behind me, bro. So I'm driving. He's sitting right behind me.
Yeah.
The car literally can feel this man in the car, right?
Yes.
Bro, we're driving. He says, so what are you doing in LA if you're from London? I said, oh, I'm a music producer. I'm signed to a guy called Rodney Darkchild Jerkins. Now, him and Rodney are really close. Like,
really? I didn't know that. Mike that's the other thing. Mike know everybody. Like, Mike is friends with, like, everybody. It's, like, crazy.
One of the best fighters in the world, man.
Man.
I'm like, I'm nervous. The man's hand comes around like this. It says, you know Rodney Jerkins? That's my friend. That's my friend. I'm like, His whole hand came around the seat.
Right. Also, you're driving. Right.
No, it goes deep. So we driving, right? We get to the house. So she says, so can he stay at yours?
What?
Stay at mine for what? She was like, please, we're going to take him to the airport in the morning. He just needs a place to stay for the night. Why can't he stay at yours?
Right, like,
I was like, nigga, she was like, I need him to stay at yours. I was like, well, if he stayed in my house, you stayed in my house too, because I'll be goddamn.
Right.
This nigga sat on my couch, bro. He took up a couch and a half. Like, he just, like, was a big dude.
Yeah.
And I remember we was just talking, and he watched the History Channel the whole night.
Really?
Like, bro, he watched the History Channel the whole night and was explaining about, like, I don't even know what we was watching, but he was watching stuff on, like, Caesar and shit. Like,
Mike is really he was
talking about on the Rogan show. He was talking about Alexander the Great, and said he's been into history and conquerors since he was 15 years old. He's been into that.
Intelligent, bro, and like, so I'm talking to him, and bro, he's like, you know, I've been fighting for so long, and his mitt was just like,
yeah.
Well, think about how he has to be built, because he's my height. I'm 5'10", and you see him walk in, and other than his height, he does not look small.
No,
compared to heavyweights.
He is big.
His frame is just, he's built like a Samoan. Like
Listen,
he's
built
crazy.
like a tank.
Freakish.
I've never seen that kind of like in person.
This mass.
Like I was like, that's why you're a monster.
Yeah.
Like you are a monster. Like not even because he said anything. He's a kind-hearted man.
Yeah.
And even when he was really grateful that I allowed him to stay, and he was like, "Man, if you ever need anything, I got you." He was very grateful.
Crazy.
But
some weed.
Listen, he got his weed. Trust me.
Right.
And the craziest part, we took him to the airport the next day, Burbank Airport. And when we got there, the man had no passport, no ID on him, and they let him get on a plane home. It was the most amazing shit I've ever seen in my life.
Of course they did.
So let me get this straight.
Right.
You don't need an air.
You don't need anything, bro.
No money, no nothing. They was like, yeah, you can get on a plane. We know who exactly who you are.
Right. They didn't want those type of problems. They didn't want those type of problems.
That was not a shitty story at all.
But it was funny because you said it. I was like, I'm actually gonna tell this Mike Tyson
That is
story.
crazy. That's one of the craziest stories I've literally heard in my life. Like I don't know.
You want to hear my Mike Tyson story?
Oh God, yes.
It's almost the same thing. I'm at the movie theater at the Howard Hughes. So this is Culver City, right off the freeway there. I'm at the movie theater going down the escalator, and Mike Tyson's going up the escalator. And we're this close as we go out. And I look at him, and he looks at me, and I'm just like, I'm like, is that Mike Tyson? And I see the tattoo as he turns his head, and I'm like, I just go like this. I just nod at him. He's like, he nods back. That was my Mike Tyson. That's it.
Yes. Also a crazy story.
You want to hear the other crazy part of that story?
What?
8 people behind him, they were not there together with the same group, was Kevin Love.
Nuh-uh.
Wow.
Swear to God.
The movies was just popping that day.
Swear to God, that was the night.
Just popping that way. All right. So last but not least, the Bucks signed Leonard Fournette. That should be pretty cool. But at this point, they're just trying to be an all-star team. The Dolphins named Ryan Fitzpatrick a starter over Tua.
Fitzmagic.
But I don't think he's gonna. To me, I don't think he's gonna finish the season. I think it seems like their plan is probably gonna be. I can see Ryan playing half the season, playing a couple games, and then Tua. I think Tua is gonna be the starter by the end of the year. Washington cut Adrian Peterson. If this might be the end for Adrian Peterson, but I'm sure if somebody gets injured again, like he'll get picked up. You know what I'm saying, and he'll be on a roster at some point. Cam was officially named the starter for the Patriots, which we kind of knew was going to happen, and I got them winning that division. And then last but not least, the Rookie of the Year in the NBA was announced. I just want JT to see this graphic here because I've been telling him who's going to win Rookie of the Year for a long time.
I believed you, but he's not my Rookie of the Year.
My guy, Ja Morant, took home the 99 out of 100 votes. He should have been unanimous. One vote
no, he shouldn't have. No, he should have.
Should have been unanimous.
Because my guy who literally broke rookie records should have been Rookie of the Year.
2 hours in the NBA deserves Rookie
literally
of the Year.
Rookie records that have stood records for the history of the NBA. That's who should have been Rookie of the Year.
JT, let's read this caption for me.
Records.
Grizzlies Ja Morant.
Congratulations.
NBA, Rookie of the Year ahead of Kendrick Nunn and Pelicans Zion Wilson. Okay,
listen,
so you give him the respect he deserves.
Kendrick Nunn, I don't understand that, by the way.
I don't.
Why was he even in the running?
I don't know. It
makes no sense.
It makes no sense. Harmony Samuels, thank you so much for joining the show.
Man, thank you for having me, man. Anytime.
Thank you for taking the time out and spending some time with us. We definitely want to have you back whenever we can, whenever you can.
Just send that Zoom link. I got you.
All right, period. So tell the people real quick where they can follow you and how they can support anything that you got coming up.
Hey, man, just follow me at Harmony Samuels across all platforms.
Okay.
Or go to our website, boeglobal.com, and you'll find out everything about us. And stay blessed. Thanks for having me, boys.
Bro, thank you so much for having us. You can find us at Backstage Sports on everything. Make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube page. I am at Joe Connor 33 on everything as well.
You can find me at JT Harker. My latest single's still out, Drunk People. It's not going anywhere. It'll be there forever. That's literally what I've been. It's an autobiographical song on my life since COVID.
Yes.
I just drunk every night.
Yes.
JT Harker for all the handles, and then at JT Harker Sports is what I'm doing for the sports cards. I'm also going to be covering our Backstage Sports fantasy league.
Yes.
And on that as well, a lot of the sports card world is crossing over with the fantasy world.
Yeah.
And or I should say the fantasy sports world, not the Hobbit or shit like that.
Yeah.
And you can also find all my other content on OdellLikesToBeShitOn.com.
You know what?
And
I'm done. He killed me today.
It's we are done with Odell. You guys, thank you so much for watching. We got to get out here before we get some more Odell getting defecated on jokes.
He's loading them up right now.
He's loading them up. This has been another episode of Backstage Sports Podcast. Until next time, be safe and be great.
Keep your shit in your pants. Keep it in your pants.
Backstage Sports.